Hello, homies, and welcome back to day 6 of Homeopathy Awareness Week, the 1 week in the year where we take the time to celebrate the founder of homeopathy, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who was born on the 10th of April, 1755 in Meissen, Germany. For the 3rd year running, the Homeopathy Hangout podcast is releasing daily episodes all week where we share testimonials on homeopathy from our listeners around the world. I want to take this time to thank you with all my heart to the brave people who shared their stories. Believe me, I know how nerve-wracking it can sometimes be to record yourself, so I want you to know that I honor and appreciate each and every one of you who was so brave to share your testimonial. You're also welcome to listen back on our Homeopathy Awareness Week testimonials from 2023 and 2024. Just listen back to the episodes around the 180s and also around the 280s. These are great episodes to forward to your family and friends or anyone else who may need a bit of convincing of the healing powers of homeopathy or simply to celebrate the magical healing art of homeopathy. Thanks so much for listening.
Hi, my name's Evie, and I'm 10 years old, and homeopathy has helped me with sports, it's helped me with allergies, and it's also helped me be more confident.
Homeopathy has basically changed my life, my soul, my spirit, how I feel, how I interact with my friends, my family. It gave me my community back, community that I've missed so much for many, many years. It gave me new friends, new meaning, new goals. My life is not and never will be the same again as before I've known homeopathy. Some good people have led me to it. I met Eugenie, and from that, everything has changed. I know that everything was leading me to that point, to meet her. And we started peeling layer after layer. I started learning more about myself, how to help myself and my family, and eventually how to step into the path to become a homeopath myself. So it's been an incredible journey. I'll forever be grateful to everyone I met on the way. And I know it's just the beginning. I know there's a lot ahead of me, a lot fantastic, wonderful, great, profound things. And I'm super happy. And I wish the same for each one of you who's listening. Thank you.
Hello, homies. I'm Lyubina from Bulgaria, and I dream to be a homeopath. I know so many people say that homeopathy does not work, but they haven't tried it the right way, or they haven't given it enough time to work. There are no shortcuts in homeopathy, and everyone's path is so different. So all of us who know how powerful homeopathy is should spread the word. One story in my homeopathic journey changed it all for me. Before this event, I was kind of convert, but not really there. So this is what happened. My husband and I went to get our kids from the daycare. When we arrived for our oldest son, his teacher told us that there was a small incident and he bumped his head with another kid while playing. At that moment, we didn't really take it seriously since it was looking okay, happily, lively as usual. No visible injury or something like that, so we went to do some other things. 30 or 40 minutes later, my son told me he was not feeling okay. He was feeling nauseous and dizzy. We've had some bad experience with food from the daycare, so immediately I supposed it was caused by that. Luckily, I had my 10 remedy kit with me, so I started giving him remedies. I don't remember which exact ones I gave him, but I'm sure I have tried arsenicum album and nux vomica. Unfortunately, his condition was not getting better. He started feeling even more dizzy with smell and light sensitivity. At that moment, I started to freak out a bit. He was really looking not okay, and my remedies were not working. We immediately went home, and on our way back, I was considering going to the ER. He was so miserable. I had never seen him like that before. When we got home, I was still thinking of rushing him to the ER. But then, like a flash in my mind, I decided to give him arnica single dose, and in less than a minute, he turned his head to me and said, "Mommy, thank you. I'm okay now." I could not believe it. Obviously, he was having some kind of a concussion with all the accompanying symptoms. All of the symptoms disappeared, and I didn't even have to give him another dose of arnica. I have heard of such stories, but never experienced it myself until that moment. I encourage everyone to try homeopathy and to witness its healing power. Bye from me and take care.
Hi, I'm Sharon, and I am here to tell you about why I love homeopathy. It has been amazing for me and my family. I have no idea how people have children or a family without the support of homeopathy. I was initially treated with homeopathy as a teenager. I had incredible pain in my coccyx. Sitting was extremely painful, and even walking. I was given a single dose of a remedy, thought nothing of it, except that the next day I could suddenly jump on a trampoline and could even stand and sit on the trampoline. No trace of the pain ever again. I then got reintroduced to homeopathy when I had my children and managed to navigate febrile convulsions, ear infections, teething, croup, all the things that, come into a family whilst when you have young children. Although I never quite realized how many other situations I could have used it for. A few years ago then I had a bad dose of vertigo. It was 4 days before I could book in to see a vestibular physio. I was sitting on my bed, had not been able to move much for the dizziness for about a day. I finally decided to see what remedies were suggested for vertigo. I had not even considered homeopathy because I was in such a hideous state. I had a read up, and after 1 dose of Bryonia 30C, I was fine. This has been an incredible story for me. I cannot believe that 1 dose, and I was fine. I could stand up, sit up, look, turn my head from side to side, and have never experienced the vertigo again. Another story with me was with my little silky terrier. We were about to go out for dinner and she looked up at me and her one eye was white, not with a discharge. It was white and it looked like it was dead or dying. It was terrible and was so sudden. I got hold of a dog homeopathic group and managed to have a consult. They suggested a remedy and then to follow up with her constitutional remedy, which is phosphorus. I took her out to dinner with me as I was going to friends, and I didn't want to leave her at home alone because that would have made her worse, as she's anxious if I leave. And as I was leaving after being at the friend's house for a few hours, I looked at her, showed my friends her eyes, and I said, "How do you think her eyes look?" And they were all thought she looked fine. And I showed them the photo. It was incredible. Nobody could believe it. I took her to see a vet a few days later because it was, of course, everything always happens on a weekend when you can't see somebody. And the vet said she could see that there had been like a puncture wound in the eye. So obviously something had punctured her eye and the liquid had all drained out. And she then asked me to send her photos so she could send it to her university and to students who she teaches. Anyway, I love homeopathy. I'm passionate about it. And happy Homeopathy Awareness Week to everybody.
Hi, Eugenie. My favorite remedy is arnica because whenever I go to the skate park, I always never fall off. So just in case I bring it.
Hi there. This is Eileen Nauman, and I'm from the United States of America. And I'm helping Eugenie Kruger out here a little bit by doing Homeopathic Awareness Week, which I think is 4/16 or 4/10 through 4/16 or something like that. Anyway, she gave me a list. I have 5 minutes. I've got my timer on. Okay. So it says here your name. I did that. Okay. How homeopathy has helped you in your life. Well, it's basically saved it a couple of times, but I don't have any time to go into the stories about what they were or anything like that. But they have certainly helped me in every way possible, whether it's acute or chronic. And you said your favorite remedies. I like aconite the best because it's a shock and trauma remedy. And it too saves lives because shock can kill you. And that's not a nice thing at all. And it will stop the shock and bring the person back, which is good. And also it's good for panic attacks. It has such a wide range of helpfulness. It's a constitutional remedy. And the second one is Arnica montana. And it's basically for at least I use it because I'm an EMT, and that's an emergency medical technician. Here in the United States, we are medically licensed to practice, and we undergo a lot of training to do it, but we call ourselves EMTs. And the thing is that with Arnica montana, it too takes care of trauma, but not to the depth of aconite. And then I would follow aconite up with Bellis perennis, which goes after the very, very deep or deepest trauma to the bone, the skin, the muscle, whatever area gets hit. It can bring up the trauma and get rid of it, which is good because very often we all use Arnica montana. But to me, from how I've used it over the last 40 years, 50 years, is through light or medium kinds of shock. But when it comes to bleeding and hemorrhaging, you want, at least I keep in my pocketbook and in my glove box of my car, is a 50 m of Arnica montana. Because if you are hurt and you're bleeding or you're bleeding out or you're hemorrhaging, you can take a 50 m and it'll stop it dead in its tracks, pardon the pun, but it will stop you from bleeding out. And plus, direct pressure on it if you can. So the other one that I really like is lachesis because I lived 30 years in Arizona where we have the most poisonous snake, a green rattler, a rattlesnake. And we also have the bark scorpion, which is the most poisonous scorpion in the United States. It can kill children with its toxins. So we lived up where the bark scorpion lives, of course, up in the mountains near Sedona, Arizona. And we have been bitten by a bark scorpion. You know, they crawl in at night and they get under your covers and they start stinging you. And so we always kept a lachesis 200C and 1M around. So lachesis is good for any kind of stinging bite. And that is worth something, especially if you get into snake bites and you don't know if they're poisonous or not. So that is my 3. All right. So you said how I found homeopathy. I started taking classes in 1970 with the National Center of Homeopathy, which is located here in Virginia, and took all their courses and everything, and then just started studying. And eventually in the 1980s, mid-1980s, I got my DHM UK and have been practicing ever since. So how I found it, okay, got that. Why do you think people should try homeopathy? Well, first of all, it's safe. Big pharma medicine, you'd better be looking at the handout, the pamphlet that comes with your meds, all right, and open it up and read the adverse side effects. If that doesn't scare the living bejesus out of you, I don't know what will. And in comparison, homeopathy is the antithesis of big pharma. It's safe. There's no adverse side effects. Plus, big pharma can charge you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for your meds. In homeopathy, they're dirt cheap. You're going to spend so little, it's not even funny, but they work and they work consistently. And so I strongly suggest that you use homeopathy if you're having adverse side effects, especially with any drugs that you're taking. So they said, any tips for people new to homeopathy? Yeah, keep studying. It's really great today because we have webinars and, you know, we can go and take classes or we can take lessons and they aren't that expensive. And if you really find out that homeopathy really works, you'll be just probably like me. You found out that it does work and very quickly, and it's safe and it's cheap, and you can help your children, you can help your elders, you can help your dog, your cat. I put it on my plants, especially when I'm doing a plant that I'm removing from one pot and putting it into a larger one. The shock of the moving. So I put in, you know, a 30C aconite in some water and I put it over the plant's top. And that brings them out of shock right away and they're not sitting there drooped for days. Same goes for the human. Okay. Any tips for people new to homeopathy? Well, like I said, if you fall in love with it, there's lots of great books out there. There's also a lot of information and webinars, and that's where I suggest that you go. Now, my favorite homeopathic books, I have to kind of go, well, I've written 5 or 6 homeopathic books over the years, and I don't even know if I can show it here or not. Probably not. I don't know, maybe it won't. Somehow, maybe that'll do it. It's called Homeopathy 911. And a good friend of mine, Gail Darren Kellogg, who is an Oriental medicine doctor from California, and I wrote it because we took our EMT 14-week brutal class together in Cottonwood, Arizona. So we decided to write the book together because EMTs are taught how to keep somebody alive until they can get them to the ER or the emergency room in the nearest hospital. And the homeopathic remedies are incredible to use in those circumstances. The aconite for shock, if you know the signs of shock. For instance, like in Arnica, Montana, if that person's in shock, you start to reach for them or to help them and they pull away from you. They don't want to be touched. They're always the ones that'll say, I'm fine, go help the other person, where they may be bleeding internally and they don't even realize it, and then they drop over dead. That's the Arnica type person, but that's what Arnica is used for, stop the hemorrhaging. So besides the Homeopathy 911, it has saved lives. And I'm so glad that we wrote it. It's out of print right now, but I know you can still get some copies probably on Amazon, or if you want to look into some of the, the older antique books and stuff like that online, you might find it. And the other one that I wrote in, I think it was 2004, was homeopathy and epidemics, because I could feel it coming. I could feel the epidemic coming. Well, we did get it in the 2000s here. The last 3 years, we had COVID. And before that, I had written a book because I could sense and feel it coming. And I thought, well, we better have something out there that somebody can use to help themselves get through it, and instead of getting worse or dying. So that is also one of the books I wrote. I wrote Beauty in Bloom, and this is for women who are going through menopause, and several others I won't mention because I've got 5 minutes. You can look them up under Eileen Nauman at Amazon.com if you're interested. All right, well, I guess that's it. And so it's nice talking to all of you. I wish you well, and I wish you to go ahead and give homeopathy a try. And there's a lot of great homeopaths around the world. And wherever you live, in whatever country, there is more than likely homeopaths. So nice meeting you. Thanks a lot.